I didn't fall asleep. I blacked out because I got up too fast because I was half asleep, hit my head on the radiator, choked myself out on the desk, wiped my laptop and all my gear off the top of it, and I woke up because I was like, oh, there's water dripping all over me.
Well, I'm Russ Milheim from The Direct. It's great to meet you. First of all, congratulations on the movie. You know, the movie's about like a campfire story come to life. At the end of the day, campfire stories are usually like tall tales, right? So like, not real. So how does this movie serve as a cautionary tale about like misinformation and that kind of topic?
Well, I mean, I actually personally haven't seen the film yet. This will be my first time viewing it. My sister plays a very prominent role. She plays Pilar. So I was mostly playing like babysitter / supportive older sister on set. So I'm excited to see it. From reading the scripts though, I found it really interesting how it kind of took a turn from like becoming a campfire story to a story come to life. I think the director, Danny, he did wonderfully. It looks really, really spooky. I think that it's definitely going to get the kids who go to summer camp and hear scary stories now. Like, I feel like it's going to be a very, very interesting film. I'm excited to see the reactions. I'm excited to see how genuinely scary it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is that, like, when it comes to slashers and horror movie, what's that one mistake that those characters always make that you're like, I would never do that?
They go somewhere alone. They're always going places alone. It's like it's a tale as old as time. They're always splitting off, and I love it when horror movies make jokes about that and then still go ahead and do it in their plot later. It's amazing.
Now I have to ask about Avatar. You are going to be the Toph. Can you just kind of, I know you can't say much, but can you tease what it was like building that dynamic with the cast, with that core group, and then how your version of the character might be a little different than the animated version?
Yeah, I mean, the cast had been very, very kind to me, and they've been very welcoming, kind of showing me the ropes. I actually knew Gordon from when he first started the series and when it first came out, so I remember having this image of little 11-year-old him when I first started auditioning for the role. Yeah, my version of Toph I think is going to be a little older and slightly more feminine. I feel like I wanted to work into a very humanizing space for her because she was a cartoon. I have met Michaela, who plays the voice of Toph, and I feel like we have both a very similar take in terms of process. So again, I can't say much, so I'm excited for you guys all to see it.
Very last question. Fans are really looking forward to it. Can you tease, is it 2025? Can we expect it maybe this year, or are we going to have to wait a little longer, you think?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm not exactly sure. I feel like they're trying to keep our expectations realistic. So I think that we were looking at early 2026 for season 2, but let's just hope it gets done a little quicker than that,
Well, I look forward to it, and congratulations on this. It was great meeting you. Congratulations on the movie. It's exciting, and it's a scary one, so
it's different for sure. It's out there.
Now, a heavier question for you. The movie is about a campfire story kind of come to life. And at the end of the day, campfire stories are tall tales. They're false stories. So how does this movie serve as a cautionary tale to misinformation and stuff like that?
Ooh, I mean, it's so different and it's so out there. It's really honestly freaky, but it's got such a good storyline. So, I mean, you're just going to have to see. I mean, it's going to be awesome. So we'll see.
Now, when it comes to horror movies and slashers and all this, from what you've seen, what are some of those common mistakes that these characters make that you're like, what? I would never do that?
Okay, sometimes I feel like when they're stopping to look, why are you taking so long? Just run, guys. Just go. Just go. No, yeah, I'd be running for my life. But see, some of these characters, they stay and watch for a second, which I mean looks beautiful on screen, but in real life, that would not end well for you, I don't think.
On the other end of it, what is a mistake that you would probably make? Where would you mess up?
Oh my God, I would tumble. I would fall. If we were in the woods, I would be falling everywhere. I'm the first one gone. Let's just say that.
Last question. Just when we're making this movie, what was the most surprising challenge you faced that you just didn't expect that would, be such a hump to get over?
I mean, we did a lot of running, and that was kind of difficult. I'd never done a role that was, so energetic and crazy. So There was a lot of fake sweat, a lot of running. That was very difficult for me, but it was overall so great. So it's worth it.
Well, congratulations again, and it was great to meet you. Great to meet you. First and foremost, congratulations on the movie, man. It's exciting to be here.
Oh, thank you very much. No, I'm excited too. It's a fun movie.
I love horrors. I love slashers, so I'm excited for it. And when it comes to horror and slashers, what are some of those mistakes that characters often make that you look at, you're like, I would literally never do that if I were in this situation?
There's a murderer downstairs. Let's go check it out. Clearly, don't do that. Oh, there's a demon. The cracks are in the house. Just burn the house down, dude. Leave. Immediately leave. But obviously, we don't get a movie out of that. So
so they have to make these.
Yeah, we want them to go down, but I'm not going to go down.
Speaking of making mistakes, what is the mistake that you would absolutely make in real life?
Go down and say what's up to the demon.
Hey, I'm bored. Can we do something?
Are you real, bro? Come on, are you real? Are you really a demon? Because if so, I got some questions.
Are you fucking with me right now?
Yeah. Come on, are you real? What's going on after we die? I just want to know. I'll give you some. You want gold? I don't know. Let's find out. You want Bitcoin? Let's do it.
For you, what was the most surprising challenge you faced personally during the making of this film at any point in the process?
That's a good question. I was tired during a lot of the shooting because we did day to night and night to day. So when you're flipping the schedule like that, you get very tired. Actually, funnily enough, there was one day that we were flipping the schedule, and I had woken up because I forgot it. I fell asleep while I was reading lines, and I left my office light on in the hotel or whatever. And I wake up, and immediately I blacked out. I was like, oh, I'm back to sleep. I didn't fall asleep. I blacked out because I got up too fast because I was half asleep, hit my head on the radiator, choked myself out on the desk, wiped my laptop and all my gear off the top of it, and I woke up because I was like, oh, there's water dripping all over me. What's going on? And I was like, and my neck was cranked over the desk chair. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, there's water dripping all over me. I go to the bathroom, I had blood all over my face. And I totally knocked myself out. It's the stupidest thing that could happen. Almost died in the hotel room for no reason.
That's insane, though. That is an insane story to be able to tell.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I think you win. I think we're done here. Yeah. Last question for you.
Yeah.
The stories about a campfire story come to life. At the end of the day, most campfire stories are tall tales, they're falsehoods. So how does this take the horror genre and serve as a fun cautionary tale against that idea of misinformation?
Ooh, that's an interesting take. Cautionary tale against misinformation. It's hard to say anything without giving the movie away too much. Maybe just for everybody, do your own research. Independent research, go out, discover things for yourselves, and make sure your camp counselors are decent at their job, that they don't have criminal records, if there's a murderer on site, maybe just don't send your kids there. That seems like a good choice.
Well, my first question about this film, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks, yeah.
It's great to be here. Everyone's excited to watch it.
Fode's in the house.
Yeah, I just talked to him too. Now, when it comes to the horror genre, what are those mistakes that characters make all the time that you're like, I would literally never make that mistake if that was me?
Oh my gosh. If it's nighttime, don't go downstairs and check the living room or outside. Definitely not. Just lock your bedroom door, go to sleep. You can check it in the morning. This has happened to me recently, and I'm like, I heard a noise. I'm like, I'm not going to go check.
You just survived a horror movie.
I think I would. I would be the least interesting watch, but I think I'd make it.
On the other side of that, what is the mistake that you absolutely would make?
I think my phone would ring. And it's not because I'm popular, it's because I don't respond to enough texts. Yeah.
When it comes to making this movie, what would you say was the most surprising challenge you faced during the process?
I think, honestly, it was feeding myself. Because, we were in the middle, this is such a not interesting answer. You're going to cut this part. But we were in the middle of, Carrollton, Kentucky, lovely town. The people were super nice. But I was like, what do I do? Balancing learning lines and, feeding yourself. And I had more empathy for, food deserts. Carrollton, Kentucky needs more grocery stores.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Now, this movie's about a campfire story come to life. Campfire stories tend to be, tall tales or just false straight up. So how would you say this movie takes the horror genre and serves as a fun cautionary tale against misinformation?
Wow. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I've read the script. I would say against misinformation. That's a great question. I guess just don't believe what you hear. Don't believe anything. That's the takeaway from this. You're going to cut this also.
Wait, did we even interview you? I don't even remember.
Filler interview until Pierson comes over, and here you go.
What's he saying?
He's saying that...
He asked me an unbelievable question. He's going to have an answer for this.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
The one about misinformation.
Misinformation.
What did you say?
I said, do your research on the camp counselors. Make sure they don't have any criminal records.
Yeah.
But then make sure your kids go there.
That's
even
great.
If they do.
And then can we just get a clean line of you saying vaccines, and then you'll edit in, do your research on vaccines.
Yeah.
And your
that's what you
PR
said.
rep will be really upset.
Yeah. There's gonna be somebody back there that's like, oh my God, don't bring us into this shit.
No, I think that's my answer. I'm clapping on his.
Also, I mean, this man's mustache. Is this not the?
It's all plugs.
And the hair. He's just
Also
handsome.
plugs.
Gorgeous. Come on.
Well, thank you both. It was great. It was great meeting you. Now, horror movies, right? Slashers. What are those mistakes that these characters make across all these movies that you're like, if I was in that situation, I would literally never do that?
Did you hear that? I'm gonna go check it out. No, don't check that out. Don't check out the scratching noise you heard in your attic. It's unnecessary.
That's fair.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, though, what mistake would you make?
Investigating the noise.
So you would do that yourself? You'd be like, yeah, don't do that, but
It
maybe.
makes me mad when they do it, but I feel like I would still do it. Yeah.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. For you personally, throughout the process of making this movie, what would you say was the most surprising challenge you faced?
Jumping into the lake near the end of the movie. Well, at the end, not near the end. Anyways, it was particularly challenging for me just because it's like jumping into a cloud, you don't know what's in there. And I mean, they had divers, they made sure it was completely safe, but I just didn't like jumping into the unknown. I've never been in that lake before. Yeah.
What was the most unique experience that you faced on this project? At any point, this can be like filming, maybe beforehand, bonding with castmates, but compared to everything else you've done.
Definitely when we're filming me in the lake and I'm drowning, like that, it was just like in a pool and they covered it in like a black tarp. It was really fun for me to experience, just because I'd drown, and then I come back up and the director Danny would be like, could you drown a little bit more? And it was really fun for me. Yeah.
Well, sir, it was great to meet you, and congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
My first question is, when it comes to horror movies and what you've seen yourself, what is that mistake that you see these characters make that you yourself would never do?
In some movies, I kind of see a little bit of unnatural fear, a little bit of fake. I'm more just scared all the time on set. I got scared all the time. So I don't know if I could really fake the fear,
On the other side of that, if you were in one of these situations yourself, what is that mistake that you would absolutely make? Would you be the one to trip over things? Would you go off alone?
Yeah, I'd probably trip over everything. I wouldn't look. I'd be looking to the side. I wouldn't be looking in front of me, so I'd definitely trip over everything.
Making this project, what would you say was the most surprising challenge you personally faced?
Oh, I'm not going to lie. Probably doing my own stunts, because sometimes, that really hurts. Another challenge was the first day, I thought it'd just be a walk in the park, a cruise, just meeting everybody, but everybody was scattered at one point, so it was hard, but then we all got together, had dinner, met up. It was really fun. So just, yeah.
What are you most excited for audience to see? When this movie comes out and everyone can see it, is there a moment that you're I cannot wait for people to see that?
So, in the movie, Q comes in, and he comes in guys, the doctor's real. Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, you're good.
And I come in, I'm like, what the fuck? And it's a funny scene, because it's just a funny atmosphere in that scene.
So horror movies, right? What is those mistakes that these characters make all the time in this genre? What is one of those mistakes that you're like, I would literally never make that mistake if I was there myself?
I can tell you right now, he doesn't make mistakes. The man's a killer. And when you see him in this movie, he's the best. That's it. That's it.
Splitting up is probably the biggest mistake. It's probably the most well-known mistakes in horror movies. Is like if a killer like Michael Myers or someone after you, even though he's unkillable, why did you split up? You like if you're in a group and you have the opportunity to beat them up for a good while and get away, why did you split up and let them just pick you off one by one? I guess it's just build like atmosphere and tension, but I mean if it was real life, could not be me.
On the other side of that, though, what mistake would you make? Like, what's like, oh, that would absolutely screw up that way?
Splitting up.
Don't do it, but I would probably do it.
Don't do it. Me, I don't like. Once I take my like attention somewhere else and look back, they're gone. Everyone's gone. Like, I don't know where they went. Yeah.
For you personally, on this project, what would you say was the most surprising challenge? And this could be at any point, you know, pre-production, like filming, or even after the fact.
I think just like getting ready because there was a lot of running, like losing a lot of weight, getting ready to like get into this role as well, getting into this kid. It was pretty easy to get into the mind of the kid. He was very similar to me, but yeah.
What are you most excited for audiences to get to see when this movie comes out?
What I'm most excited for is just to see like all the hard work that paid off. I hope it's really good, and I hope maybe there might be a sequel, but we're gonna have to see how this one does. Hopefully this does good.
What would you want to see? I guess you can't really talk about it because the movie hasn't aired, but do you have any vague ideas of what a second movie would look like if you did it?
Probably a little bit taller, a little bit older. Two main characters go searching for someone or something like that, escape the camp, and they try to hunt them down. That was kind of like what I would think of like a good sequel, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I will cross my fingers, sir. It was great to meet you. My first question is, okay, when it comes to horror movies, right, what are those mistakes that characters make that you're like, I would literally never do that if I were in that situation?
Just running to where the killer would be. Like there's like some of them like go to the kitchen and just like hide themselves in a corner. Like, no, just run away. Yeah. That's the biggest mistake in my opinion.
On the other side of that, what mistake would you absolutely make if you were...
Absolutely make? Definitely like when they fall over branches or like just falling in general, just like being clumsy and the killer's right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do it without a killer pursuing me, so who even needs the killer? Now, when it comes to this movie, what would you say was the biggest surprise challenge you faced during the process?
Biggest surprise challenge? Let's see. Surprise challenge was having to do my role, even though I'm really good friends with all the people on the set. So that's the biggest challenge.
Now, at the end of the day, what are you really excited for audiences to experience in this movie? Is there any particular moment or quality of the movie that you're really hyped to see how people react to it?
Yes. So towards the end, there's a scene where we all just like bond together, and just a couple of us jump in the lake and we all just bond like that. That's what's surprising in my opinion, and I can't wait for the fans to see that.
Well, sir, it was great meeting you, and congratulations. When it comes to horror and slashers, what are some of those common mistakes that these characters make that you look at and you're like, I would literally never make that mistake if I was in that position?
I think the biggest mistake is probably assuming everything's fine, which I may or may not do in the movie. So that's all I will tell you about that. Yeah, but I don't think I would do that in real life. Maybe I'd like. Don't judge me.
Look, I can't help it. Now, on the other side of that, and you kind of did just talk about this, but what mistake would you absolutely make? Like, what is that? They're like, yeah, I couldn't help it. Like,
probably thinking that I can handle it on my own. Because, I like to think I'm an independent woman until I'm also really clumsy, so I run into a lot of things, and that wipes me out pretty quickly.
I was joking. I was like, I don't even need a killer chasing me to trip over things, so there I go.
Not at all. Not at all.
When it comes to making this movie, what is one of the biggest surprise challenges you faced?
Well, honestly, I didn't know this was a horror movie until I showed up on set. I was told it was a thriller, and there's a very big difference between a thriller and a horror, in my opinion. And it was our first AD. The first scene that I shot was like just a lot. It was a lot. And I was so freaked out. And they were like, you do know this is a horror, right? I did not. No, I did not. No one told me until I got there.
Well, now you know, so.
Now I know. So I will probably be freaking out in the theater because there's a lot of it that I haven't seen yet, but pray for me.
Well, I'm actually really curious about that answer. And like when you learn that, how did that adjust your performance and your approach? So when they're like, this isn't horror, this isn't a thriller, this is horror, how did you internally go, I have to adjust these things?
Oh, I didn't have to adjust anything because everything was already there. It was so much more gruesome than I imagined. So the fear, the disgust, the freaking out, it's all real. I'm not that good of an actor. It's all real.
Last question. What are you most excited for audiences to experience in this movie?
The kids are so good. The kids in the movie are so good. I'm really excited for people because they're just so fun and they work so well together. So to watch them and see, their strong personalities and see how they dive into the different situations, it's really, really good.
I can feel it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, to show people stuff we've been working on for a long time.
Now I'm going to start off with my heavy question for you. Now this movie is about a campfire story come to life.
Yep.
Campfire stories tend to be, falsehoods, tall tales, sometimes completely fabricated.
Yeah.
So how does this concept take the horror genre and provide a cautionary tale against misinformation in general?
Man, right out of the gate. No, I think it's important. I mean, I think the cool thing about campfire tales in general are the tropes of them, right? And so no matter who's telling it, they lean very heavy into specific tropes. We definitely want to do that with our film, but it really, the story tells every aspect of the movie in every trope that it says. And some of those are pretty dark, some of them are deep, some of them are fun. And yeah, I think that was kind of the goal for what we were going for, is like, sometimes you gotta dissect what you hear, like you don't just throw it like, oh yeah, and just throw it out the window. You gotta like pick it apart. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to horror, what are some of these mistakes that characters make all the time that you're like, if I was in that spot, I would literally never make that choice?
It's funny, Q, who is our main, the lead in the film, Morgan, he said this a few times about when people ask him questions, and I think this holds true, confidence. In any circumstance, when you lose your confidence, you make dumb decisions. And I think it's really hard to find your confidence as a kid, as an adult. And I think when you can find that confidence, you can do things that you didn't think you were capable of. And if I was in the situation, I would not have no confidence, and I would botch the whole thing. So I'm saying this, but I would not do that, yeah.
What would you do? What is that mistake there? Like, that's me. I would do that.
I would run and hide. Yeah, I would not be, I'm like the you watch something and you're like, oh, you should do this, but in the situation, I wouldn't be able to think fast enough. Yeah.
What would you say was the most surprising challenge you faced during the production of this film?
The hardest thing was with a younger cast. We only had a certain amount of hours that we could shoot, of course, and we only had a certain amount of time at night. So it got dark at 9:30 at night, and we could shoot till 10. And our whole movie takes place at night. So there was a lot of logistics in terms of scheduling the days and the weeks and making sure that we could get coverage of everything and not have to cut anything out. So that was probably the most challenging. It worked, and we had a really great team pulling all those pieces together, but that was the biggest thing.
Last question, what does a Marshmallow 2 look like, and when are we getting it?
It is going to be awesome. We've already been talking about it. It is really, really cool. Sequels, prequels, all of that stuff, they have to work as their own thing. And something that we talked about early on was like, we want to do something that stands as its own thing that anybody could watch. Yeah. And he's not coming back for the sequel, just so you know. No, and I think it's important that it stands and works on its own while honoring the original. Yeah.
My first question for you guys is horror movies. What are some of those mistakes that these characters make consistently? And you're like, if I was in that situation, I would never make that mistake.
I mean, I'm always just like, run away. That's always the classic horror trope is just run away. Get out of the area. But nobody seems to do that. They always want to stay there. So
going towards the light. They're always going towards the light. Curiosity. Why are people so curious all the time? That would me, I'd want to get the hell out of it.
Now, on the other end of that, what is that mistake that you would absolutely make?
I mean, I would say I'm the guy who will be staying. I'd be the curious person. Be like, I wonder what's going on. I'm kind of curious what's happening over here. So, I should be running, but I'm kind of intrigued at the same time. So,
I would just run and fall over myself. I'm just, everything scares me. So,
Now, the movie's about a campfire story come to life. And at the end of the day, a lot of campfire stories are, they're false. They're tall tales, just straight up fabrications. So how does this movie take the horror genre and give a fun cautionary tale against misinformation?
It's got a twist that's going to blow your mind. That's the bottom line. You are not going to see what happens in this movie coming at all.
Yeah, we blend a lot of genres on this one. So you think it's a classic camp story, and it's just not. We blend all of them together, and we kind of liked about it. And it's very visual. It's not the kind of classic story at all. So
I know this is only the first one, but have you guys talked about what a second one would look like? Do we have ideas at least in our heads?
We do. We've already started fleshing out ideas. We were, just last week going through all the treatments and everything together, so we have a very solid story already. So
we think this movie sets itself up perfectly for a sequel, for sure.
That would be a lot of fun. Last question for you guys. What is the most surprising challenge you both faced on this project that you hadn't really come across anywhere else, and it just kind of came out of nowhere? You didn't expect it to be the hurdle it was.
I mean, for this one, being a horror film, we have a bunch of kids. That's the biggest challenge we got. Is shooting at nighttime with a bunch of kids is very, very challenging. So that was our biggest challenge, was getting all the kids together, all the blood and everything on them, and getting through it all, while a night shoot. So.
I mean, these kids were absolute pros. They made us look like kids. That's all I can say. They were awesome.
My first question is horror movies in general, right? What are those mistakes that you see characters make all the time, and then you would just be like, I would never do that? And then, what mistake would you make?
It's the staying and having a conversation about something, you're on the phone and you're like, what's going on? It's a little, hang up the phone, walk the fuck out. We're done. It's done. Why? If I hear a house going, get out, I go, I get out. I listen to the fucking people. Simple. What would I fall for? The surprises, that shit'll get me. The jump scares, this, that, I'm done. It's if it's a twist, I'm out. I got no forward thinking.
Now, my last question, I want to pivot and talk completely hypothetically here. Fans really want to see you as Agent Venom one day. Is that a conversation that you've ever had with Marvel and Sony? And then, is that something you would be interested in exploring? Have you ever thought about what that would look like with your take on your character?
Yeah, look, I've read the comics that everyone's read. I would be really, really fucking excited to do something like that. That would be really cool. I have no idea what or if or when or maybe, and we'll see. Look, the hope is to do it. The dream is to do it, and we'll see if it ever happens. And if it doesn't, they're making great shit regardless that I will watch over and over and over again. And I'm just happy to have been a part of it, and simple as that.
I do hope to see you in Spider-Man 4 at the least, so fingers crossed.
Here's hoping, right?
Yeah.